What's going on, my today people? My name is Wendy, and I really appreciate you all joining me yet again for another. Now, on today's entry, we'll be talking about something white in the White House, and I'm not talking about the paint. Also, politicians are playing tit for tat as members of the House are attempting to begin the impeachment process on President Biden. Paris has been in turmoil for the past few months. We'll definitely look into the reasons why and go from there. Also, SCOTUS is pulling our country as far from the left as possible, guys, and by any means necessary. I'm a little torn on this news here. We'll get into some of those nuances, though, in a bit. Oh, and my today people, that's not it. We still have to talk about Amazon Alexa's $30 million settlement, man, and much, much more. So let's get to it. Here's the price for entry. Dear future robots, will guilt or innocence in the future merely be an algorithm? Data. We're giving so much of it on us away to these corporations that I'll really be shocked if the average person's life can't be predicted by said algorithm. Let's start the show. How are my today people doing? All right, guys, we are already pretty much halfway through the month of July. All right. Now, for all my folk out there that are grinding, you're going to mess around, pick your head up, and it be Happy New Year already. All right. So take a moment to smell the flowers, as they say. Now, any of y'all out there still go to movie theaters? Anybody still doing that antiquated thing? Well, the only reason I'm asking is because there's a movie out there called Insidious, The Red Door. And honestly, 3 people have mentioned this to me already. Now, I'm not sure why they brought it up. I mean, it could have really been just because they had nothing else to talk about. Maybe felt awkward. I don't know. But that's besides the point. I don't do scary movies. And it's not for any reason you might think of. Horror flicks to me are almost comedy in the way they now lack originality. Everything is either extreme gore or 90% jump scares. No thanks. I'll keep my little ticket money in my pocket, you hear me? Plus, movie theaters will never, ever beat the comfort of my house. Eh. Now that I brought up houses, though, let's get right into scrap metal media. Let's go. Scrap metal media. Welcome to Scrap Metal Media, where all news is two-faced. Take it or leave it. It's your choice. Y'all, they done found some cocaine in the White House. I never thought I'd say that sentence. I swear, if Jeezy was still an active rapper, this might be the title of his next album or mixtape. Shout out to the former Snowman, by the way. I can see him coming up with some witty bar about how he had Joe's son hunting for the Yola. Yeah. No, but seriously, y'all. Officials now are reporting that the bag of cocaine was found not far from the White House's West Executive entrance. Apparently, it's a heavily trafficked area. Seems to me like somebody either made the dumbest mistake ever and all new staffers are about to get that random drug test, or someone wants to frame Hunter Biden. That's it. We all know this guy likes to indulge, so to speak. At least in the past, let's say that, right? Allegedly. But I couldn't imagine him being this stupid. The Secret Service is set to give their findings on this situation during a briefing that's set for the 13th. And honestly, this episode may or may not be released by then. So if not, I'll of course cover that again on the backup. Times are now so polarized, guys. I can't even front. You really have to consume a diet of clean information from all sides and go from there. Vacuums are for cleaning floors, not getting your news. All right. Somebody needed to hear that. President Biden has a lot on his plate these days, y'all. So on top of counting each footstep, like y'all know he does, and campaigning all around the world, he has threats of possible impeachment coming from a few different angles, y'all. We have less likely angles and the ridiculous angles. Starting with the less likely, Colorado Representative Lauren Boebert yet again introduced articles of impeachment for high crimes and misdemeanors, citing abuse of power and also dereliction of duty. I am not a big fan of Biden, and I think that's BS. Moving on to the next one, they are calling this the Big Biden Blunder Act. It's introduced by Florida Rep. Byron Donalds. This bill seemingly seeks to pin all of the blame for Afghanistan on the Biden administration. Come on, son. Stop it. This bill is like 3 pages long, and it's 3 pages of nonsense. All right? Right now, Democrats and Republicans are locked in a fight for whose guy is going to sit in the seat next. So just like the Democrats trying to keep Trump busy and distracted, I believe the GOP to be doing the same damn thing. Y'all should be ashamed of yourselves, all right? All you politicians out there that are working for corporate greed and have no moral scruples or anything. This is the most divided that I've seen this country. No joke. I guess until we the people are able to stand up against big money interest and remove greed from politics, this is what we'll have to deal with. Could be worse though. We could be France right now. For those that don't know, Paris, France, and the surrounding cities and suburbs have been dealing with a tumultuous past several months. In January of this year, over 1 million Parisians took to the streets to protest an increase in the retirement age from 62 to 64. You would think that's nothing, right? I mean, we hear stuff like that all day in America and don't do nothing. But this reform bill proposed by the Born government is being touted by officials as crucial to keeping the French pension system afloat, right? So they're running out of money, and this calculation set in place is believed by officials, at least experts, quote unquote, to be what can actually keep some money in there for those young people who are going to be the old people. Well, even with all that expertise and all that thought put into it by the officials, French folk were not having it. Unions and other opponents to the rise argue that wealthy taxpayers and companies should pitch in more. Obviously, I am on the side of the people here. History tells me that when the people of France stand up, then it's for a good reason. And they usually win. Maybe this will be different, maybe not. Emmanuel Macron, who is the leader right now, not only has that to deal with, but his party also has to reckon with unrest following the fatal police shooting on June 27th of Nahel Merzouk. Nahel was 17 years old and died after an officer fired through his windshield at close range in an attempt to hit his leg to prevent a chase or being run over. The officer missed his leg and the bullet entered Nahel's arm and ricocheted into his chest cavity, resulting in death. Definitely a tragedy. Wherever we give power, expect abuses. You can go to the cell phone company and get treated like crap. You can go to the Best Buy and get treated like crap. You can go to the DMV and get treated like crap. Why? Because these people have a bit of power over you. Now, we have enough psychological experiments to prove this fact. Shout out to Dr. Zambrano. But in no way at this point, with information that's available to the people, do I believe that this officer from France, almost hanging on the hood of the car, or Merzouk's car, wanted to actually kill him. At least at this point. Maybe more information comes out, but hey, we'll see. These are just really intense moments. And from my experience paying attention to TV, the media and all that, they never really end well. You have folks saying he should have, complied and stopped. And you also have people saying that the cops are just racist killers. Well, I don't personally know any of these cops, obviously. So I can't speak on their beliefs. But I can agree that I wish Nahel put his car in park instead. All right. Look, France was already in full protest mode before the shooting, and now I think it's a step further. Macron is allegedly about to begin shutting off social media access across the country when protests kick off. Has he ever heard of Egypt in 2011? And for those that don't know what I'm talking about when I say Egypt in 2011, there was a revolt where the youth and other people just stood up to a regime that they felt was crooked. That was the Mubarak regime or Mubarak government. I still remember that, and he infamously cut off connections for the internet completely. I don't think it was just social media. So I'm like, man, whenever you were trying to do that, you're probably not the good guy. Now, most of this was nonviolent, but there were some reports, at least, of civilian and police casualties. Macron is playing with fire right now. I do not envy his job whatsoever. Post George Floyd, every riot will now be OP. While social infrastructure is crumbling everywhere, generational and corporate greed is typically at fault. At least whenever you dig down deep enough far into the nuts and bolts of any problem, literally any problem on the planet. Yeah, it's usually at fault. Just think about it. Now, while all you are giving that statement some thought, I'm going to move right along to the Supreme Court of the United States of America. In late June, the SCOTUS voted on a few cases that seemingly dealt a blow to this country's past, affirmative action, present, student loan forgiveness, and its future, in the LGBTQ community's ability to sue any business that doesn't want to serve them. Now, let's start with the last one. The overlords of the capital letters LGBTQ plus community took a lowercase L last month in that ruling. Nobody is hurt and nobody will be hurt. Unfortunately, you wouldn't know this just from watching the cable news coverage. Just because some similar tactics from the 1960s era civil rights movements are being used does not make it the same issues at all. In 2023, when a business or a person wants nothing to do with you, regardless of the reason, then you make sure to write a nasty review and make their competitors rich. Honestly, I was waiting on the plethora of class action lawsuits from parents and others against the establishments like certain school districts and workplaces that were forcing ideology that they did not fundamentally agree with down their throat. And that's not just referring to the LGBT. Imagine being a weird atheist and working at a place that required that you read scripture or lead group prayer prior to work meetings. Same thing. Now, moving on to student loan debt forgiveness. That was a Biden plan, and if you listen to my previous episodes, then you already know, that had no legs pretty much. Next, all right, we're gonna move right along. Good old affirmative action. Now, Edward Bloom finally got what he's wanted all these years. As a strategist against any policy in place that might have been enacted to right historical wrongs, Bloom was always there with his white cape, hoping to do the good work to ensure those darkies have no say in our political system and no seats in our PWIs. Now, I'm not saying that he said that verbatim, but doesn't it seem like something he'd say to himself down in a lair somewhere while having a tea and crumpets? I think so. Look, if you have an abundance of melanin and you work hard to get into whatever school of your choice, and yet don't get in for some strange reason, get to work, do the research, get a good attorney to make the case, and sue their ass. The steps that Bloom laid out can be replicated. I am personally just tired of us begging and pleading for things. Use their game against them. Discipline, strategy, and patience, right? #DSP. Now, not exactly a SCOTUS case, I know, but a U.S. judge has restricted the Biden administration from communicating with social media companies to moderate their content. This is off the heels of some Republicans actually suing the Biden administration, accusing them of taking advantage of the pandemic in order to stymie, we'll just say, views that went against the government's official position. Considering how wrong the administration was on a lot of things around that time, I get it. President Biden, you guys need to worry more about coming through for the middle class and children in this country a bit more instead of bullying social media platforms. That's all I'm saying. Oh, and off topic, but now apparently Jonathan Majors is innocent. Any of you internet detectives out there that ruined his career gonna at least apologize? Now, I'm actually hearing some rumors. I mean, obviously they might just be internet rumors and all fake and whatnot, allegedly. Uh, but there are rumors that this all happened to him because he, again, allegedly, chose to not taste of that fruit, that forbidden fruit. And because he chose, they sent in the jackals. Yeah, y'all do with that what you will. But y'all remember the guy who grabbed Terry Cruz's balls in front of his wife, right? Hollywood is something else. And honestly, y'all, I'm sorry, but we are in a time now where it's more evident than ever to me that we cannot trust establishments created to protect us. The Supreme Court is partisan. The cowardly school resource officers from Parkland is found not guilty. Florida's governor and Oklahoma's school superintendent both deciding that it's okay to hide history. You got Oklahoma City's superintendent of schools trying to change history, saying that the Tulsa race riots was not about quote unquote race. How does that make sense? And y'all already know DeSantis is doing something every weekend. But he actually, a few months back, rescinded some money that was given to a college here. Not a university, but Valencia College. Their production team were already had the money sent out to them, promised to them, I should say, but they had enough money to create a movie or documentary about the Ocoee massacre. Right? The money was already there, and he pulled that away. Bank of America is scamming again, y'all. Like, shout out to Greenwood, first of all. Amazon employees, I mean, they were caught spying on people using Alexa, like creeping on custies. Like, and this actually costed the company $30 million. Like, I can't walk through my house naked. Like, seriously, I really can't walk through my house naked again without thinking twice. Like, can I get some of that 30? Like, really? And by the way, even Pornhub is out here scamming. I'm glad I always prefer videos, by the way, but it's not an ad. Like, seriously. Men and women can't even use their piece in peace. Like, y'all, I'm through. This is crazy. Like, these are all the like establishments essentially supposed to serve us. Like, yeah, we gotta stand. Like, seriously, like, stand up, y'all. Like, seriously. That's all for Scrap Metal Media, y'all. I'm out. Now, today, for the main, I'm gonna just keep it brief. All right. We'll call this one Uncle Tom's Sowell. Thomas Sowell is an influential economist, I think most would call him. He's also a social theorist and author known for his contributions to the field of economics, race relations, and public policy. Sowell has held prestigious positions at institutions like Cornell University, Brandeis University, and the Hoover Institution at Stanford University. He's taught economics and published numerous academic papers and books. Sowell's work span various areas of economics, including microeconomics, macro, and the history of economic thought. His writings tend to emphasize the importance of free markets, individual liberty, and the unintended consequence of government interventions. He spent time examining race-related issues, challenging conventional wisdom, and offering alternative perspectives. He's critically analyzed affirmative action, racial disparities, and the impact of cultural factors on economic outcomes. Now, to me, and others, I guess, Sowell's ideological leanings seem to influence his analysis at times. And it seems that it leads him to I'd call it oversimplification of a number of complex issues. Thomas Sowell is the intellectual version of Uncle Ruckus. The spook who sat by the other door, way over there somewhere. a curmudgeon that exemplifies what happens when one wishes to desperately appeal to the numerical dominant in a society, where some like myself acknowledge the complexities within life and this social experiment of so many people, so many different people, even in one nation, which, by the way, is a first for humanity. Men and women like Sowell pray to the gods of inequality and division to find favor. Jesse Lee Peterson, Candace Owens, and the rest of the quote unquote Black MAGA are only good for a few laughs on dry nights. When your ideology and ways of being are built on ignorance, desperation, and greed, your reality is merely a house of cards. A room of broken mirrors. Because you couldn't stand to look at your years of moral concession tattooed on your foreheads like 666. Cultures have always had Uncle Thomases. Clarence or Sowell. It doesn't matter. They're in the same bag. Now put them in the trash, where they belong. I'm out. So for those that don't know, Uncle Tom has been a word or phrase that really has permeated through culture, and so many people use it now and don't even know why they use it, right? I get asked that question several times, or I catch people that say it and kind of, it becomes a conversation. So I just want to give a little background on that, just so you guys understand my position and where I come from, right? Uncle Tom's Cabin was a novel written in 1852. I'm sorry, published in 1852, and it's by a legend, Harriet Beecher Stowe. All right. If y'all don't know any of her works, look up her life. All right, Harriet Beecher Stowe. Now, this is or is known as a powerful, what they call anti-slavery novel, and it really played a significant role in shaping a lot of the public opinions and also fueling the abolitionist movement in the United States. The plot revolves around lives of several enslaved Africans and just their experiences under this wicked institution. Uncle Tom is the main character, right? It's called Uncle Tom's Cabin. In this novel, he's a devout Christian and an enslaved African American. He's depicted as a deeply moral and dignified man that goes through a lot, like just a lot of suffering, just a lot of destruction and injustice that he has to face throughout this story. Now, despite all of these hardships, he's like Job from the Bible, right? He just remains steadfast in his faith, maintains his integrity, um, and it's crazy to see, but it's amazing at the same time. Like his character is like associated often with self-sacrifice, forgiveness, and resilience. Say what you will about that. That's not my favorite aspect about him because I ain't like that. Like, you get what you give. But the more redeeming or best quality that I take from his character was that he was actually kind and nice and helped his fellow slaves. He helped, right? Um, so I'm not sure why this became a negative. If I had to assume or make an educated guess, it would be it would come from hip hop, probably rap culture. Gods and Earth's time where everything was hood and hip hop and gangsta. Uncle Tom was like this gentle, nice, subservient guy, humble, putting his head down. And, maybe they called for all my people who watch the Jamie Foxx show, maybe they would call the Braxton type character or if you watch the Fresh Prince, the Carlton type character. Maybe that's why uh, Uncle Tom was used as a pejorative. Uh, Now, if we switch it over to Sambo, uh, definitely a minor character. Now, from my opinion, the negative stereotype from this story should be Sambo. All right. Sambo was pretty much an overseer almost. Uh, he was the one snitching on the other slaves. He was a brutal dude. Was even brutal to Uncle Tom. He helped keep the system going, right? He was Samuel L. Jackson from Django, not Uncle Tom. All right. So I just really wanted to clear that up. It's a legendary novel, so if any of y'all want to pick it up or audio it, that's great. But I just wanted to clear that up, y'all. Uncle Tom is not a pejorative, at least from how I see it. But it sounded good. But yeah, let's go to bet by bit, y'all. Let's go. This ain't just a prediction. This is bet by bit. The bet by bit prediction of the day is: a surveillance network will be developed within our country encompassing web access, social media sites, apps, and forums. Now, as called for by President Obama in 2015, broadband internet access across the board will be a public utility. And with that will come tracking using devices and a revamped system of surveillance cameras. Sound dystopian to you? I don't think so. I actually believe, in this point in my life at least, that we have too much quote unquote freedom in this country. A move like that will drastically decrease crime over time, even though it'll for sure be met with raucous dissent. I'll just have to stop walking around the house naked. That's all I got for the time capsule. Peace, love, and beard grease. Live long and prosper. And we are just universes crashing. Just do your best to leave a mark. Also, subscribe, comment, and leave 5 stars. This is Wendy, signing off. Dear future robots, peace.